Guys, my name is Ankit. Today I am going to bring out information about a new drug that is seen to inhibit COVID-19 causative virus, the infamous SARS-CoV-2 virus, and this study is published recently in Nature, an internationally reputed journal. But before starting, please like, share and do subscribe to my channel, as because it motivates me a lot to bring out even better content and bring out a better version of myself altogether. So let's start with the video without any delay. So the drug I am talking about is Carmofor. It's an anti-neoplastic drug which is basically used in cancer as an anti-cancer drug that inhibits the main protease, the Mpro in SARS-CoV-2. About this protease and everything I have already dealt in my previous videos. So the X-ray crystallographic structure reveals that the carbonyl reactive group of the drug covalently binds to cysteine 145, whereas the fatty acid tail of this drug occupies the hydrophilic S2 subsite. The Carmofor as a whole inhibits the viral replication in the cell. The molecular details of how Carmofor inhibits Mpro activity have remain under resolved, but here we present a 1.6 angstrom X-ray crystal structure of the SARS-CoV-2 Mpro complex with Carmofor. So basically, Mpro forms a homodimer having two protomers. The protomers are actually named simply as A and B. So these are the two protomers. Okay, the residues being 1 to 306 amino acid, and now each protomer is further composed of 3 domains. So here the domains are clearly visible. So the first domain I am talking about is the D1 domain. And this D1 domain, amino acid wise, it is 10 to 99 amino acid long. Domain number 2 is 100 to 184 amino acid long. And domain 3 over here is 201 to 305 amino acid residues long. Also, it has a long loop region which is composed of 185 to 200 residues that are missing over here. The substrate binding cleft is located between these two domains, the domain D1 and domain D2. Now, the binding cleft, if we further zoom, we get a series of subsites. So, if we magnify, we get a series of subsites like S1, S2, S1 prime and S4. These all can accommodate one amino acid from the substrate protein or the polyprotein I am talking about, because it's just a recap that protease in the virus, the viral protease actually, cleaves this whole polyprotein into functional active proteins. So this protein, so one polyprotein contains different proteins inside it, embedded into it, and this protease cuts the protein at several junctions to create different active proteins, which we are going to which we are talking about actually. Now each protein or the protomer has at least a serine residue, and this serine residue interacts with the phenylalanine 140 and glutamate 166 of the other protomer to stabilize the S1 subsite, as because the Mpro is a homodimer of two linked protomers, that is the protomer D1 over here and the protomer D2 over there. The fatty acyl moiety of the Carmofor is linked to S gamma atom, or simply the sulfur atom of the cysteine 145 residue, through a 1.8 angstrom covalent bond, whereas the fatty acid tail is inserted into the S2 subsite. So these subsites I was talking about, the S1, S2, S1 prime, S4. So this subsite I am talking about. So this suggests that, or simply it means that, sulfhydryl group of the cysteine 145 attacks the electrophilic carbonyl group of the Carmofor, resulting in covalent modification of cysteine 145, okay, and release of 5-fluorouracil. Apart from the CS gamma covalent bond, or the CS covalent bond from the C from the Carmofor and the S from the cysteine, there are number of hydrogen bonds of the protein with the fatty acyl moiety. Now, the carbonyl oxygen of the Carmofor occupies the oxyanion hole and forms hydrogen bonds with the backbone amides of glycine 143 that I am pointing over here. What's the issue? Okay, so this glycine 143 over here, it bonds a amide bond with that, hydrogen bond with that, and another is the cysteine 145 over there, mimicking tetrahedral oxyanion intermediate that is formed during the normal protease cleavage. That means when this protease actually binds to the polyprotein, then this polyprotein also mimics with similar conditions as this drug is mimicking, or rather the drug is mimicking the similar conditions that this protease encounters. Basically, in simple terms or in layman's term, this polyprotein is not this polyprotein, this drug is acting similar to the polyprotein, and this binds very efficiently like the polyprotein, and the resulting hydrogen bonds with this polyprotein mimics that of the hydrogen bonds formed with the drug. Simply this. Now, the fatty acid tail, which appears in an extended conformation, inserts the bulky hydrophobic S2 subsite over here, composed of the side chain of histidine 41, okay, methionine 49, tyrosine 54, methionine 165, and alkyl portion of the side chain of aspartate 187 over here. Okay, so now the hydrophobic interactions are mainly contributed by the side chains of histidine 41, methionine 49 that I could not show because of the three-dimensional nature of the structure, and methionine 165, which I have obviously shown over here, and also the side chain of the aspartate 187 does not interact that much, but it helps in the stabilization. So basically these interactions run parallel to the alkyl part of the fatty acid tail of the inhibitor. So basically, using this all data, we can conclude, or I can say in conclusion, Carmofar and its analogues can be designed such as they are showing broader activity, and also they are very potent in nature, because a protease, the main thing in the virus is the protease. Because why? The protease, the polyprotein, this polyprotein serves different functions. First of all, it has some compounds or some part of the protein can help in defeating the host's antiviral response to the viral viral invasion first. Secondly, it produces so many structural and functional components of the virus. So if you target this protease, we can actually help in controlling this viral replication, and also we can induce the cells of our own host origin to produce more and more antiviral compounds. Many and many interferons must be made, okay, and this can actually subdue the infection. So it is also this Carmofar drug is also responsible for not only SARS-CoV-2 but different families of virus, different types of virus inside the family of coronavirus. Okay, because Coronaviridae is basically a big family. The coronavirus is a big family. It contains so different kind of viruses. It contains different kind of murine viruses, even the human viruses, even contains many different kind of animal viruses. All are belonging from the same type of coronavirus origin or family. So this Carmofar has actually shown a very much broad activity. So this is also used for treating SARS-CoV. This is also potent for SARS-CoV, although it was not treated. But this drug has the potency to be used in both SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2 infection. And in many cases, I can also say that if this works very much properly, it can be even used for the future cases of coronavirus infections. If it happens, God forbid it does not happen. Okay, God forbid it does not happen. But if it is there, then we have our own machinery, that is the Carmofar, the machine gun, we have it. So basically, if you like this video, then please like, share, and please subscribe to this channel, as it motivates me to bring even better content next time. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay with me at home. And also one thing before going out, about the lockdown. Will this lockdown extend for a much longer period? Well, according to my own thinking and logic, it should extend, but there are different kind of studies. So I will make a different video about this whole topic. So if you are really into this topic, this current topic, and all my other videos, and please stay tuned and do subscribe, so that whenever I upload a new video about the lockdown extension and everything, you are the first to get notification about that. So as for now, stay at home, stay with me at home, and bye. Mall Biolect out.